I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Brody for the first time. The mischievous little fur ball galloped around the yard as if he had a mission to accomplish. His fluffy brown fur bounced with every step. Then he would sneak under the fence and head towards our neighbor, Miss Sally's house. We had just moved into the neighborhood. Brody was only a year old, but his stubbornness was already showing. Every time I would call his name and run after him, he would be long gone. When we found him again, he would always be in the same place, in the yard of Miss Sally's house, a happy expression on his face, in a good mood. Miss Sally would open the door, hand Brody a treat, and with her warm smile, she would say, "Oops, there you are, naughty." I would apologize, embarrassed, and she would always reply the same way. "No problem. He is not a burden to me at all. I like that." Over time, Brody's escapades became routine. Whenever he went out, he'd end up at Miss Sally's house in the blink of an eye. At first, I thought it was a reward he was after. Maybe Miss Sally was secretly giving him something delicious. Maybe her favorite toy was there. But the truth was much deeper. One day I decided to follow Brody. I found him outside Miss Sally's back door, his head raised, looking out the window. It was as if he was waiting for an invitation. I knocked on the door. I wanted to apologize again. Miss Sally opened the door with a sincere smile on her face and invited me in. As we drank tea together, everything slowly fell into place. Miss Sally was alone. Her husband had passed away years ago, and her children were scattered in different cities. Her days were quiet and a little sad. But Brody, he had been a light in her life. "You know," she said, stroking Brody's ears, "this little fellow makes my day." Brody felt it, and that's what all his escapades were about. Something changed in my heart at that moment. Brody was not a runaway scamp to me, but a miracle that touched a heart. After that, we allowed Brody to visit, sometimes even accompanied by our other dog, Lulu. Seeing the two of them lounging in Miss Sally's house was now part of our lives. Watching their friendship warmed my heart every time. The months went by, but one morning, Brody ran to Miss Sally's house as usual, but this time he turned back. At the gate of the garden, we learned from the neighbors that Miss Sally had moved to a nursing home because of health problems. At that moment, I looked at Brody. He was still waiting for her arrival. He didn't understand what had happened. His heart was still there, at the door of his friend. I didn't want it to end like that. I contacted the nursing home, explained the situation, and they immediately responded positively. "Of course, bring him for a visit. It will do him good." And I immediately took action. On our first visit, my heart was pounding. Was he going to remember? Would Brody behave? Miss Sally's face lit up when the door opened. "Brody," she said, her voice trembling but her eyes shining with joy. Brody ran joyfully into his room, knocking over almost everything and jumping into her lap. At that moment, a miracle happened. Tears fell from my eyes. That day, the old friends picked up where they left off, as if nothing had changed. And from that day on, we started taking Brody to Miss Sally every Tuesday. Brody became a therapy dog. When he entered the nursing home, everyone's faces lit up, but his heart always belonged to Miss Sally. One day, a special party was organized to celebrate Miss Sally's 101st birthday. Brody was invited. He even wore a little party hat. No balloons, no cake. All Sally wanted that day was for Brody to be with her. When I sang, "Happy Birthday, Brody," I got tears in my eyes, because at that moment I realized that Brody had made Miss Sally's life, not just her day. Maybe he can't sneak under the fence anymore, but their friendship is still alive. And each visit shows me once again that sometimes a dog is the best medicine for the heart. Don't forget to like and comment if you enjoyed this emotional true story.